Hey, what's up, everybody? Steviebreech coming to you. In this video, I'm going to be doing my Bound for Glory TNA predictions. This pay-per-view looks like a flat tire limping into the stable here. Um, Bound for Glory is supposed to be TNA's WrestleMania, and they mainly have maybe two matches people want to see, and one they're trying to shove down your throat, make you want to care about, with Sting and Hogan. I think that they had a really good idea for the Bound for Glory series. I was a real fan of that when it first started, and basically just from Matt Morgan getting injured for real, was a real letdown for that. It wasn't anybody's fault. That sort of stuff just happens. But the way they did the injury angle for the Pope and for Devon, it took away from the whole thing. And then you took out the one guy who was leading it at the time, Crimson, for no apparent reason to build a storyline that nobody cared about to lead into a three-way match here on the card. I don't know if you got cold feet about letting him win it and main event on the pay-per-view or not, but all in all, Bound for Glory series, I hope it comes back. I hope they find a way to do it right. It reminded me a lot of the old WCW strategies they used to do back in the day, Battle Bowl and stuff like that. I always liked them. I always thought it worked real good. Just get down to the matches now with TNA because I don't think a lot of people really care about TNA. I think that if you're even watching, I think you care about the main events, and that's about it. So I'll start with the main events, and then I'll just work my way down. Main event is going to be Kurt Angle versus Robert Roode. What the hell? I couldn't even think of his name there for a second. Um, I think Angle's going to win this match. I think a lot of people are expecting Robert Roode to win the match because it's the first time they've let a new guy sort of step into the main event slot there, especially as I said, this being their WrestleMania and all. But to me, I just think that the whole beer money thing is unsettled. You can tell uh, that James Storm has some sort of a little bit of a jealousy that he didn't win this. He congratulated him. One thing that I really picked up on when they did their interviews, when they did their segments, one member of Beer Money mostly talked the whole time, and then the next segment that would come up, the other one would talk the whole time. It reminded me a lot of the way they did the rocker split. When they would be in the ring and have their matches, Marty would work the whole entire match, and Sean would be on the outside. And the next week they came back, and Sean would work the whole match, and Marty would be on the outside. So I'm not sure if that's really what they're getting at, but I don't think this is going to be Robert Roode's day. I'm glad as hell that he won it. I'm glad as hell that he's in the main event. I hope he finds a spot that he can hold on to there. But I just think that the beer money thing is unsettled. I think you need to break up that group, which is sad. They probably still are the best running tag team out there right now. I think it's very debatable. There are a lot of good tag teams out there from Ring of Honor, TNA. WWE doesn't care about tag teams anymore. But it's just sad that they break them up. But it's good for Robert Roode to move into the main event and TNA to actually start using their homegrown talent there instead of just the WB floppies that get jumped over to TNA and they push them like they're the biggest thing in the world when they're really just the guys WB used up, got sick of, and tossed them to the back burner. I also think with good old Fortune. I think there's a little bit more there. I think that whole group's going to implode. Robert Roode was never really the figurehead of that group, so I don't really see him becoming in that when he becomes the champion. I think that whole group's mainly going to explode, especially with the AJ's and Daniels match. From there, we go to Sting and Hogan. I don't think there's a way in the world that Hogan wins this match. I think Sting has to win in order to turn the reins of TNA back over into the hands of Dixie Carter. Where they go from there, I have no idea. It is well known Hogan and Bischoff both signed 2-year deals to stay with the company for the reason more than likely that I don't think anybody else wanted them. I don't think the money was exactly what they wanted. 2 million for Hogan a year just doesn't really seem like it. He's able to keep his deal where he's able to go out and get the Xbox Connect video game that looks like nobody's gonna buy, and he can even appear in WWF video games if they ask him to and give him money. He can go out and get his own merchandising deals and so on and so forth. So for Hogan, um, it's just too bad he couldn't appear for WB. They would know how to use him. In those short little periods, he wouldn't have to be in the match. The one reason that they could use him a lot is that new network that's coming out. That's one reason I really wish he would have jumped over so he could appear on some stuff over there. But for the next 2 years, this is where he's going to be. Storyline wise, once they hand it back over, I don't know if this means we're going to slowly turn him into the face Hulk Hogan again, and maybe apologize for what he's done for the last 2 years. But we'll see. But I don't think there's any way in the world that Mr. Stinger, oh, he's right here, is not winning this match and taking over TNA for Dixie Carter again. Bound for Glory has always sort of been Sting's pay-per-view. He's challenged for the title 4 times, and he's in a pretty big match this time. It's pretty much the biggest hype match, even though they've already came out and said that it's not going to be the main event. Especially with Hogan going to the ESPN and everything. That was pretty cool that ESPN treated him like a star, even though he works for TNA. From there, we'll talk about the AJ versus Christopher Daniels match. It's an I Quit match. I think Styles has to win this match. I pick Styles a lot for the one reason that I really believe that he's become a main eventer someday. But then again, it's a pretty good big storyline for the group and for these two. Daniels wants to really admit that he can beat this guy, so wouldn't be surprised. But I'm gonna pick Styles, and then the clusterfuck of a match here is Samoa Joe versus Crimson versus Matt Morgan. Which the 3 guys are lumped together because Samoa Joe took him out of the Bound for Glory series matches. He hurt Crimson's ankle, and Matt Morgan came to his defense. Matt Morgan beat Samoa Joe at the last pay-per-view. Crimson beat Samoa Joe when he came back and had a match on Impact. Which means I don't know what the hell these guys are fighting for anymore. You would think that the revenge has already came. I'm going to pick Crimson because I think he is the star that TNA wants to push. You can see that for the last few months. And I don't know if they just didn't want to give him this big WrestleMania style match, but I think his push will continue after this. Winter, Velvet Sky, Mickey James, and Madison Rayne in the 4-way match for the TNA Knockouts Division Championship. Man, to me, the division's always been the best when Madison Rayne's been on there, but it seems like she's really chilled out for the last little while. Maybe because she had the title for so long, they want to move it around and keep it on everybody else. But it seems like Winter's had it for so long. Mickey James has already had her moment in the sky. Velvet Sky, if she's been champion, I can't remember, but I don't think this is gonna be her first run, so I don't see it really being that big time story for her. So I'm hoping for a Madison Rayne win. Rob Van Dam's going to fight Jerry Lynn in a Full Metal Mayhem match. If you're like me and you didn't remember what the hell a Full Metal Mayhem match was and you had to look it up, it is basically a TLC match where there's chains in it and anything metal is legal. That's what I got off of Wikipedia. It's been a while since we've seen one. And once I saw the previous match listings from before, I sort of remembered them. There's nothing really to write home about, especially with these guys. They haven't delivered us a good match so long, so I don't know why they keep pumping these guys out there. Rob Van Dam's going to probably be around longer in this company, so that's the reason why I'll pick him. Mr. Anderson and Bully Ray in a Falls Count Anywhere. Philadelphia Street Fight. I'll pick Mr. Anderson for the reason that they're turning him face. And since he's flip-flop, face heel, face heel, face heel so many times this year, I'll pick him in order to get him over as a face. Then we have the X Division Championship, Austin Aries against Brian Kendrick. I think Brian Kendrick is at his end of his rope, I guess you can say. I'm picking Austin Aries to win this match because he's probably the best thing going for TNA right now. And I think this Kendrick feud is finally going to be summed up and hopefully find a new X Division guy for Aries to defend against. Like I said, this TNA pay-per-view isn't looking great. It's not going to be anything to write home about. It's not anything worth ordering on DVD. I would be surprised if this gets a real high buy rate, especially with all the stuff Hogan and Sting and everybody been doing for it. But it's not looking good. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think and send me your video responses with your picks.